You know that some of your clients want recliners, right? And you're thinking, please, please don't make me put that in that room. Well, Kravit just gave you a gift. Their new line, Kravit Motion, is all about comfort without the clunky eyesore. We're talking sleek silhouettes, tailored arms and backs, gorgeous details, and yes, it reclines, but in a way that actually works with your interior design plan. So whether it's manual, plug-in, battery-powered, it's all high-end, all low maintenance, and you can customize it with curated fabrics and finish options that fit your design vision. So if you've been avoiding motion furniture, it's time to take another look. Head over to Kravit.com and check out Kravit Motion, because form and function finally just called a truce. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Before we get into today's episode, I want to let you know that we're doing something a little different over the next several months. We're bringing back the most downloaded, the most talked about episodes from the last 9 years of A Well-Designed Business. These are the episodes that built businesses, that sparked aha moments, that turned you into an action taker. Now, if you're wondering why we're revisiting these episodes and what's changing with the show overall, well, I walk you through the full vision in our April 25th, 2025 episode titled The Big Shift, What's Changing on a Well-Designed Business and Why. That episode is linked for you in the show notes. Now, a quick heads up. These episodes are airing as they originally did. That means the music might sound familiar or it might be vintage. That means the event dates will definitely be out of date that I talk about. And it also means that any offers that are mentioned may or may not be valid still. But the insights, still golden. So whether it's your first time hearing this episode or your fifth time hearing it, there's something in this conversation for you right now in this season of your business. So here's the show. I hope you enjoy it. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of A Well-Designed Business. I know many of you are following WindowWorks on social media because we're getting all kinds of comments and thumbs up about the podcast, and I truly thank you for that. It means so much to us to know that you're out there listening and enjoying the podcast. And if you're not following us yet, check us out because this weekend we posted our Sweet 16 celebration. It's our way of saying a huge thank you to the first 16 interior designers who have spent their time with me, sharing their best advice with all of us so that we can all run more productive, more profitable businesses. Each one of these designers has brought something of value to the show, and I'm thankful for their part in making this podcast so popular right out of the gate. And today's guest is yet another brilliant businesswoman. On the podcast today is Vanessa DeLeon. If you haven't heard of Vanessa DeLeon, then I'm afraid you might be living under a well-designed rock. Vanessa has created a powerful, successful brand with her signature design style, Glamalistic. Her impressive resume includes her most recent competition on NBC's American Dream Builders. She was also a featured designer on the hit show Restaurant Impossible, HGTV's Generation Renovation, Designer Challenge, Bang for Your Buck, Design Star, DIY's Rev Runs Renovation, Ice Loves Coco, and Bravo's $1 Million Listing. She has made guest appearances on The Better Show, NBC's Today Show, and she is a contributing designer for Open House NYC. Vanessa had a segment on PX11, Vanessa to the Rescue, and she was a featured host and designer for YouTube's Your Place is a Deal Breaker. In 2007, the IFDA named Vanessa as the Rising Star of Interior Design. She also has appeared in several publications, such as New York Spaces, Design New Jersey, 201 Home, Latina Magazine, Time, Entertainment, Cosmopolitan, and Bella Petite. In addition, she is the featured design editor for several publications. Her public appearances included a tour as the IKEA spokesperson for how-to seminars in multiple cities across the USA and hosting design clinics at the Casa Latina Home Expo. There are even more feathers in Vanessa's cap. And as soon as I tell you a little bit about Kravit Inc., our podcast sponsor, I'll be right back to let Vanessa share the rest of her story with you. Our sponsor for today's episode is Kravit Inc., featuring CuratedKravit.com. CuratedKravit.com is a trade-only resource for all of your interior design needs, from furniture to accessories. Their platform is so comprehensive, offering the finest in furniture, floor covering, lighting, wall decor, bedding, and much more. Fabulous products that you won't find every day. With CuratedKravit.com, your business just got easier. The process is so simple and the results are unbeatable. Just design, click, and your items will be delivered right to you. You can also browse the many beautiful room designs which have been curated for you by esteemed interior designers such as Nate Berkus, Jonathan Adler, and Alexa Hampton, to name only a few. I use CuratedKravit.com for my clients, and I love the results. Remember, design, click, delivered with CuratedKravit.com by Kravit Inc. Well, good morning, Vanessa. I'm really happy to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this with me.
Of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm very excited because, of course, I say that for every interview, and I am excited for every interview, but yours is going to be a particularly different interview. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this incredible branding that you've done of yourself and the platform that you've built. And we have had guests on the show before that are doing the same sort of thing. But, 100,000 followers on Instagram is not something to be taken lightly. So, yeah, you've obviously done something right. Also combined with how young you are, it's also particularly impressive. And I just want to say to our listeners today that today, when we talk to Vanessa, we're going to really try and break apart what I feel has been a very smart, very executed trajectory for her platform. Okay. And of course, we probably won't talk so much about her beautiful interiors because that's a given. Anybody that's listening to the show knows that you're not on the show if your resume of your portfolio isn't already up to snuff. So while I appreciate your resume, we probably won't get a lot into that. So let's talk about, first of all, I happen to know that, I've said it in the introduction, all of the different television shows and so forth that you've participated in. Yes. But what I find interesting is that I know that it was a conscious decision. And I think that sometimes people think that businesses, entities like yourself just happen by luck. And right? Joke, right? Yeah, I know that it's not that. And I think that sometimes people think, well, I'm an amazing, whether it's a designer or it's a whatever field anybody's in, I'm an amazing actor, I'm an amazing this, that it's, they just got lucky and somebody discovered them. And, that's not to say that doesn't happen, but I don't believe that's what happened in your case from what I've read about you. Yeah. And that's what's really cool about what you've done. It's sort of the dream that you can become whatever you want. And I want to share with people that I know that you actually said as young as 20 years old, I want to be the Latina Martha Stewart.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And so you had a goal and you did everything in connection with that goal. And so it's not just accident. It's a lot of hard work. And I remember also that you love the show Apprentice, but you consciously applied for it in order to begin the awareness of who you were. Is that correct?
That is correct. Wow, you really did your homework.
Oh, you kidding me? Sure. Yeah. So the thing is that, and that's what impresses me by it. You see? So, and I said that to you when I contacted you. It's not that you have 100,000 followers. It's that I could see how you skillfully crafted it. And that's what I would love for you to share with all of your fellow colleagues on the show today. So take us, you don't have to go all the way back, but just take us through the thought process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for all that. And you definitely did your homework, especially The Apprentice, because I always say I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and everything today I have. And I did it because of my triple D motto, and that's drive, dedication, and discipline. And I really lived by that motto throughout my entire life. I never worked for anyone in the field. I said, when I was in college, I said, I am going to have my own business. And while I was in school, I actually opened my own business, my own LLC. And at that point, I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it because I know I had a goal and I know what I wanted to achieve. And I wanted to achieve it at such a young age. I thought that was important for me, just for my branding alone. Right. And forgive the beeping outside. We're in Manhattan.
Yeah, so, that's okay.
Yeah. So for me, it was important to develop this brand at a very early age. When I started, I initially went to school. I went to FIT, and I wanted to be a fashion stylist. I wanted to dress celebrities. I wanted to be a well-known stylist, almost what Rachel Zoe is today. And then when I was at school, I ended up acquiring this great internship for Ralph Lauren, and they wanted to hire me. And at the end of the internship, I realized it really was like the movie, The Devil Wears Prada. And for me, that was a toxic environment to be in. I didn't want to be catty. I didn't want to be, competing with other women in the industry. And this was just Ralph Lauren. It wasn't even Vogue, or it wasn't even, Chanel or Gucci here.
Right,
we're talking about, Ralph Lauren, and not to downplay it, but to me, that was a toxic environment. It wasn't who I was as a woman, and I love women who achieve and become successful and are business entrepreneurs, and women that strive to be greater or more advanced than some men in the fields. So for me, that wasn't what I wanted. So I decided when I was very young, my dad put me through college, but how he put me through college was, okay, you're going to make a couple $100 a week, but I'm going to pay for your college education. So I thought that was a deal. And then I was working at our family furniture store. My grandfather was actually a designer in Cuba, and he came here in the 60s and opened up a ton of furniture stores. And I didn't like retail per se, but what I liked about it is when I would sell furniture, people would ask me or invite me to their home. And then from there it was, oh, can you suggest window treatments? Or can you tell me, should I blow out this wall and add an addition? And all these other questions started rising. And I said to myself, you know what? I need to educate myself. So I went back to school, and I went to Berkeley College at the time. And when I was at school, I was so eager to get out in the field and just do it. And at the age of 20, I opened up my LLC and actually branched out from the furniture business and created Vanessa DeLeon Associates with a very small loan from PNC Bank. I remember going in there and asking for a loan, and I was very young at the time. And fortunate for me, economy was a little different back then. So loans were very, very easy at the time, but it wasn't anything that was significant. But from there is when I started really just training myself. So while I was a designer and had a business, I was still dealing with learning curves. So in the beginning of my career, it was very frustrating because I didn't know who I was. And now it's crazy. It's 16 years, and I've evolved as an entrepreneur, as a woman, as an interior designer that knows her style and know who she is. It took a long time for me to understand that. And if I can do it over again, I would have loved to have been trained by someone.
Right. I have to tell you, most of the high-end, luxury designers I've spoken with have specifically mentioned the years that they spent at other firms as the best training ground. Forget the college and the degree, but that most of them have spent 6, 8, 10 years before they launch on your own. And as you're talking, that is one of the things that I didn't know, that you didn't spend any time with anybody else. So that's actually particularly even more commendable. I mean, I understand you're talking about the frustration of the learning curve on your own, but you obviously have instinctively good business sense, because somebody without good business sense that starts on their own at 16 years down the road is probably still walking in circles, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I have my parents to thank for that. They both instilled this business hustle ethic in me. And to be honest with you, in the beginning of my career, I was a better businesswoman than I was an interior designer. And I think that's super imperative, especially as a growing business, to know, especially dealing with, obviously throughout the years, you have trials and tribulations, right? But knowing what the foresight or forecasting what's to come, or even, in the economic downturn, how to shift your business so it doesn't go under, so you don't have to, let people go. That was important for me because I lived through all that as well, and I sustained my business, and if anything, evolved in such a way that I kept up with the times instead of, having to release, some of my employees or my business over my overhead. So, those are all learning curves that I dealt with, but I think because of my business background and that stronger, I always say I'm a stronger businesswoman than I am a designer. I still to this day say it. I think it's equaled out now, but I think that is a core that for any business, I think that's the core value of a business, being a wonderful business person. And with design, I mean, I know many designers. I mean, I even know students that, I speak at colleges, I speak at FIT, I speak at Berkeley College, I speak at, all these colleges. And I see the talent that's out there, and I almost say to myself, "Oh my God, these people are better than me," and they're students, and they can be uber talented, but if you don't have that business skill or that sort of hustle, that triple D mentality, it's almost like a starving artist. You can be this amazing artist, but if you don't have the backbone with the business sense to go along with it, you're leading your business to destruction.
It's the truth. Erica Ward was on the show, and she said exactly that. She goes, "You never heard the phrase starving accountant before, did you?"
That's actually a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so that's really, you just totally, made the whole point of the podcast right there. So I love that. But it's well, said, and it's the truth. So I'm picturing as a young business person, is it the sort of, this what comes to my mind, coming back home, sitting at the kitchen table with your parents and going, okay, this happened, what now, what next? Not nuts and bolts, but just that bouncing off those entrepreneurial ideas and learning the skills of being a business person. Is that sort of, I picture that happening. Is that where you got some of those insights so you didn't fall back and make wrong decisions?
To be honest with you, I didn't.
Yeah. Just in your DNA?
It was I think it's in my DNA, and it's just seeing and actually physically being involved in a family establishment, a family business, and seeing the grind and seeing the everyday and seeing the fact that you have to think on your toes and be resourceful. I think being resourceful is imperative for any business. Worst case scenario, you have plan B, C, D, etc. And seeing that every day for me was really valuable. So I started very young. I feel like I was a 20-year-old, but really in a 30-year-old body. I moved out of my house very young. I established my business very young. So all these ideas and everything that I move forward with my business, I actually thought of my own. Actually, my dad, I remember he and I got into an argument once, and he was like, and I'm like, you're going to see, Dad, I'm going to be a successful interior designer in Manhattan. And he's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to sell ideas, like, make a room, just, come up with the ideas. And he's like, oh, so you're basically telling me it's not tangible. And I'm like, exactly. And he's like, oh yeah, good luck with that. So, and to this day, I tell him that, and he laughs because all his friends know me, and they've heard of me and stuff. So he's like all proud. But, and I tell him, remember that time you told me that it's not tangible and you can't sell what's not tangible. Yeah. So I find that to be funny. So there was times that, even, my parents were like, okay, are you sure you know what you're doing? So, but I know what you remind me of.
You remind me of when you hear the stories about, was it Clinton that met JFK or something or whatever, and he just was like, I'm going to be him. I don't know if he met him. I can't remember the timeline. If he said, if he met him, or he just, was always inspired by him. And it's like, that's what you just made a decision. As a 20-year-old, let's be real, a 20-year-old is a child still. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, think about it. Like, at 36, you're sitting here and you have this vast experience behind you, but picture a 20-year-old. Yeah. It's like, what?
I know.
But that's what happens. It's the people in this world that make a decision, put the goal in front of them, and then do the triple D, like you said, and just, and what I think is, so here's the thing. Lots of people have these goals. Lots of people have these decisions, but you followed it up with specific actions. You coined glamalista for yourself.
Yeah, glamalistic. Yep.
Glamalistic. I'm sorry. You're a glamalista and it's glamalistic.
Yes.
But the thing is, and it's forget what the word is. It's the fact that you did it. You said, let me think of something that identifies myself, my company, my business. And it's a simple step, but it's all of these components. So you have to be a person with drive. You have to be a person with vision, but then it's these specific steps that you added to the mix. So here's what I want to know is at some point, do you feel like momentum actually did kick in? So you go and you apply for the apprentice and you don't get it, but then the next one comes along and you do it. And when that one was the Design Star, right? Design Star season 1, right? And so you do that one, and then I'm curious to know is from Design Star, is it like, okay, still grinding it out, still looking for the next opportunity, still looking for the next platform? Or is it, when that one happened, then this called, then that called, and this called, and you still had to manage the business end of it and manage the decisions and make the right ones and accept the ones and decline the others? But at what point does momentum pick up? Or does it never pick up and you're still like grinding it out every day, looking for things to do? Or, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. So going back to that question about the grinding out, I'm never satisfied. And I think a part of being an entrepreneur is that nothing's ever good enough. Mm-hmm. And you could be your own worst critic at times doing that. And you could be, sometimes when you tell me all these things and when I hear these, and when people interview me and they're like, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. It never really hits me that that's not good enough. There's nothing that's ever satisfying enough. Like there's always something better. And I feel like, everybody's like, oh, but this is it. And it's like, no, it's actually not.
Right. So, I got more to do.
Yeah, I have more to do. And I don't know why I'm constantly searching for that more. It's sort of who I am as a human being, as a son. I don't know if it's because I'm a Gemini. I don't know what it is about that it doesn't end for me. But the momentum started actually after Design Star. Before The Apprentice, I shot a small show back in the day on HGTV in 2005 called Designers Challenge. And that was sort of my first taste to television, and I loved it. I thought like, oh my God, this is where I need to be, doing what I love. I thought that was like perfect, just a perfect combination, a perfect balance of what I loved. And then from there, when I had the opportunity to apply for The Apprentice and I made it out of 500,000 contestants, to me, that was amazing. Really rewarding because they flew me out to Los Angeles. It was pretty amazing. And then from that point, I didn't get it. I guess I wasn't catty enough in my last interview because I made it to the 7th day of our interviewing. And then from that point, I came back and I was bummed because I thought here would have been a perfect opportunity to show my business skills, work underneath Donald Trump. And I thought that would be pretty remarkable. And then from that point, I had the opportunity, or I found out about this show called Design Star. And I was like, forget it. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do reality TV. But it was in the infancy stages of reality TV. It isn't what it is today. I didn't know the severity of what can lie, after it. But at the time, my assistant had said, let's just submit your apprentice tape. So they called me back right away and they said, we loved this tape, but it's very business oriented. Can you show us more design work? And I'm like, oh, wow. So they really liked me. So then I did another video, submitted it. A client called me and said, I just saw you on a commercial for HGTV. And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, yeah, you're the entire commercial. So they actually used my footage for the entire commercial. Obviously, they did some fun, interactive things that said Design Star, but I was the entire commercial for HGTV.
But you weren't actually commissioned to be on the show yet at that point. Exactly. Is that legal even?
Yeah, so you have to actually sign a waiver.
Okay, you sign over the rights to it.
Right. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't even get accepted, but here is they're playing this tape over and over again on a commercial, and
that's not bad.
Yeah, but I was still bummed. I'm like, I can't believe it. I didn't get another show, but they used my footage. And then finally they call me and they're like, you've been accepted for Design Star. Pack up your bags. You're moving to the Upper East Side. And I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, wait, what about all the testing and the physical examination and the background checks? And they're like, this is HGTV. This is not NBC, So at that point, I made it to the 4th. I was 4th outed. And when I got back and the show aired, I mean, that's when the momentum of publicity started.
Right.
I started getting more notoriety. Latina Magazine wrote up a story about me, and it was just like this domino effect, and it just kept going and going. And then from there, I got some shows in between, and then at that point, I had tried out for Restaurant Impossible season 1 and was accepted for that. And I loved it. And I started getting a ton of opportunities at that point. An agent reached out to me, and I ended up. I have a great agent with Abrams in New York City and Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So it's been great working with them because they feed me projects all the time. And that's been really wonderful for my career because it really for so many levels. I mean, I feel like you cannot be the next Latina Martha Stewart or the Martha Stewart Latina without having that platform. It doesn't happen organically anymore.
No. That's what I'm learning. That's literally what I'm learning, that you think that, like I said in the intro, people are just lucky, and it's not lucky. You have to bring everything to the table. You have to be smart. You're a beautiful woman. Yeah, I don't know that that's a requirement, but it certainly doesn't hurt. You have to, have your talent. You have to have everything locked down and then go out and create it. It's nobody's knocking on your door and finding you out of a billion people on the planet and saying, you would be fabulous.
Right. It doesn't happen organically. I mean, for Martha Stewart, maybe. I mean, she was spotted at some train station selling some sandwiches or something. But, I mean, and she was in Nutley, New Jersey, girl. Excuse me.
Yeah, I know, right?
So, I mean, that things of that nature, it just doesn't occur, especially with social media and just the admiration that everyone has towards reality television. It's beyond my comprehension, but it is what it is. And that's just a new era. That's what our millennials are watching. That's just the new wave. And again, it's about keeping up at the times, right? And just being at the forefront of it all. And that's what people love, and that's what people want right now. So
now, when you have the agent now, but was there any point in the process before that you actually hired a PR firm or something to help you, or did you actually just grind all these beginning things out on your own?
Yeah, all the beginning publicity was all me. After work, what I would do is stay up late at night and write to every editor. I would send them packages. I mean, I don't even have the energy for that anymore. I just now they just call, thank God, or email.
Yeah. But now, when you say editors, you mean editors of the different shelter magazines, or you mean the TV studios, or both?
Both.
Wow.
So if I had a concept idea for a show, I would reach out to production companies that I was familiar with, and we've done several pilots. for TLC. We did a pilot for TLC. We did one for HG. We've done stuff for DIY. So we've done several pilots that weren't picked up because it's just, with this industry, it's right time, right place.
Right.
And it's what fits at the moment. So yeah, I would literally stay up to the wee hours and develop these packages and send them out. And some of them would be fancier than others. Some of them would be, envelopes. Some of them would be full packages with gifts. I mean, literally, I made myself try to it's all about setting yourself apart from the rest, right? Mm-hmm. So what is everybody going to do? Everybody's going to submit a package or submit a pretty something with a candle or with whatever.
Or they're just sitting in their living room waiting for somebody to call them. Hello.
Right.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I mean, that doesn't happen. But so, sending out all these things and really trying to set yourself apart, like, with your branding, make sure that everything's cohesive. I can't tell you how many things I've seen throughout the industry where you see a mix mash of logos that are different from one another. The Panto color isn't correct. The marketing and packaging is different from what they're sending out. Keeping that consistent is super imperative for your brand as well.
And it shows a level of professionalism.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And they know that you're the real deal. Whether it's a 22-year-old girl sitting at home in her apartment doing it at midnight or not, it looks like the big thing.
Right. And I was cognizant of that.
Yeah.
And for me, your brand and who you are is everything. So I especially wanted to make sure that I really set myself apart.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal job. I mean, it really truly is. I'm very impressed by you. And I don't know, I'm really certain, I hope I'm conveying what I'm trying to get across is it's not a starstruck thing. I'm impressed by the calculated business way that you created it. That's because like everybody, it's like Oprah. Oprah didn't become Oprah, just, she did the same thing. You know what I mean? Like everybody thinks that these big, huge people, I mean, I listened to a podcast about Steve Martin one time, and he was talking about his comedy career. And do you know he spent like multiple years doing skits and comedies in places like Six Flags?
Wow.
Like who thinks that? You just think he just showed up on Johnny Carson. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And at the very least you think he showed up at like Second City or any of the improv places. But no, he literally did like 2 or 3 summers on the circuits at the Six Flags, establishments. And I'm just like, whoa. You know what I mean? And so yours is sort of the same thing. We outside looking in just think, oh, well, she's just beautiful and talented and it just happened for her. And it's like, no, this little girl here worked her fanny off for 15 years,
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm very impressed. We're going to take a break right now for our sponsor, Kravit, and I'm going to be right back to ask you some more questions, Vanessa.
Great.
Our sponsor for today's episode is Kravit Inc., featuring CuratedKravit.com. CuratedKravit.com is a trade-only resource for all of your interior design needs, from furniture to accessories. Their platform is so comprehensive, offering the finest in furniture, floor covering, lighting, wall decor, bedding, and much more. Fabulous products that you won't find every day. With CuratedKravit.com, your business just got easier. The process is so simple, and the results are unbeatable. Just design, click, and your items will be delivered right to you. You can also browse the many beautiful room designs which have been curated for you by esteemed interior designers such as Nate Berkus, Jonathan Adler, and Alexa Hampton, to name only a few. I use CuratedKravit.com for my clients, and I love the results. Remember, design, click, delivered with CuratedKravit.com by Kravit Inc. Okay, so we're back with Vanessa, and I have a couple of questions that I want to get into about your affiliations with the different design associations. But before I do that, I want to make sure that I bring this up because I'm worried that I'll forget it. I don't know how many years ago it was that you said in an interview, and it was so adorable because, I know that you were in your early 20s and you look like you're 12. That's what's so cute about it. And you were just literally saying, I want to someday have like a line of like window treatments or bedding or something like in a Bed Bath and Beyond or something. Like I really have my sights high. And I'm thinking to myself, you have that happening now, don't you?
Yes,
I'm
yes, yes.
so
It's
excited for you.
crazy.
Tell
It
us
came to
about that.
fruition. So yeah, I've been heavily involved with a few licensings right now, and one of them is a huge company. It's called Rizzy Home. They're out of India, and they actually sell to the wonderful big box stores like the Targets, the Neiman Marcus, the Bed Baths of the world. And I am one of their designers. And we are launching the Vanessa DeLeon collection in January market.
Oh,
And I'm happy to say that that has come to fruition. And it's all about, it's not just about vision, visualizing yourself there. It's about actually going for it. And I did, and it happened for me. So.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Now I have to ask you a silly question. It's not
Yes.
silly to me, and I don't know how it hits anybody else, but do you actually put together a vision board? Or is it just
Yes,
mental?
yes,
You
yes,
do.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
You do. You put it in front of you, either it's a list of paper or actual pictures. How do you do it?
It was pictures. When I moved to my new office in Manhattan, unfortunately, the wish board was all granted, if you will. So I wanted to start a new one in my new office, and I haven't done a wish board, but I always had one near my desk, and it was about my business. It was about licensing. It was about a big box store. It was about $1 million. I had $1 million check on there, just the growth of the business itself. I had a wedding ring and the spouse that was going to be the most incredible spouse I could ever think of. And all those things happened for me. And again, it wasn't just the manifestation of it. It was actually, going out and being open and being receptive to all these things that would come your way and treating everything like it was, very precious. And, I wasn't looking for a spouse at the time. I was actually just focused on my career, and that's how it happened.
Right.
I was looking for the licensings and the brands, but it came through another direction where I didn't expect it. So, putting it out there is great, and having these wish boards and ultimately, manifesting these things on your own is wonderful. But at the end of the day, it just doesn't knock on your door, like you said before.
No.
And I've also noticed with the younger millennials that there is a huge sense of entitlement, and that it's just, that has to just go away, because there is no entitlement in this business. It's what you put in is what you're going to get out.
Yeah. Yeah, I struggle with that too, because I hate to, and I know you don't mean to, knock a whole generation. I know that's not what you mean, but
Oh, no, not at all.
No. And I know that but I struggle with it too, because, it's funny. And I one hand, I think there's some truth to it. And I have to tell you that when my daughter is now 27 years old, so I can recall when she was in high school and college, and her girlfriend, she had a good tight pack of girls, four of them that were just, they are still very good friends to this day, the four of them. And so they would gather at our house, on Friday and Saturday and sit around and be like, there's nothing to do. And of course, we all did that for all of time. You know what I mean? I remember doing the same thing when I was a kid. But the thing was, I remember sort of thinking, like when I remember the first time I told her, you're going into town and you're getting a job at the pizza shop in town. And it was a new pizza shop that opened. It's called Nona's. It's the most amazing pizza on the planet and food on the planet, if anybody's ever in Florham Park, by the way. But it opened up, and I was like, she's a junior in high school, or maybe she was going to be going into college. And I said to her, you're going over there and you're getting a job this summer. And she looked at me like I had 10 heads. You know what I mean? And she had done the year before, she had done an internship with Stacey London on what not to wear. Yeah. And, from that to working in the pizza shop. And she's just like, you're out of your mind. Like, I'm going back into the city and I'm going to work on Stacey's new show this year. You know what I mean? And I just said, no, sweetie, actually, you're going to learn how to waitress. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, here's the thing. Your entire life, you're going to need to know how to feed yourself. Now, I understand that you're a brilliant, smart, amazing woman, and you're going to create a life for yourself. I said, but if God forbid anybody ever pulls the rug out from under you, you can walk into any restaurant and, flip burgers and wait tables and at least put $300 in your pocket that week.
Yep.
And she looked at me and I was like, this is non-negotiable. It's like, right. Go do it. You know what I mean? And she did it, and it ended up being a great experience. And, she ended up waitressing and bartending all through college. And, it was all because she had waited tables in the restaurant, And so the thing is, what I used to say to the girls was, I think that on one hand, all the reality TV where you see all these glamorous things happening, they just think, well, when's my glamorous thing happening? Yeah. And that's where I feel like I can't say that it's millennials because they are them individually. I think it's what's
exposed.
Yeah. Like, we weren't exposed to that. I mean, me, another 15 years older than you, you know what I mean? You were hardly exposed to any TV. Not that there wasn't TV in my life, but it wasn't, actually, there was 5 channels, you know what I mean? There wasn't 90 channels.
Absolutely. It was like Friends, Seinfeld, and it was like the standard.
Yeah. And so you didn't feel like there was this whole, I feel like they always felt like there was this whole glamorous world out there happening for everybody but them. And so that sort of works in their negative. Okay. But for you, what I think is very interesting is that you saw the beginnings of those things, and not that you were really a product of, like you said, it was the beginning of reality TV, but smartly you saw it and you've said, let me use this vehicle to create what I intend for myself. And that's really pretty interesting. So, yeah. And so I'm so excited. I just love that you wrote all these things out. I would be scared to ask you what else is on your list because I can't imagine it's like world domination.
not so far, but
no, I'm teasing you. Still but are there things like that we could look back in another 10 years and say, on a well-designed business podcast, I said I wanted to do this and I've done it? Is there something that you've got in your brain that you're like, this is where I would ultimately like to see and go and be?
In the next few years, I obviously I want to have a family and I want to slow down a little bit. And it would be great to use the digital platform in such a way that I can navigate a company through cyber world. And I've developed a few years back VDA Virtual, which basically is an interior design service virtually, and you can hire me anywhere in the world. And what you get is a beautiful virtual presentation board, and you can have the options of delivering materials to you in a beautiful Vanessa DeLeon box with all the materials inside and your full presentation. And then you can actually procure all the items from any local store or any online e-commerce.
Wow.
So I've developed this a few years back with the intentions of potentially slowing down in a few years to start a family and just focus back at home. I love cooking. I want to become more of the lifestyle brand, lifestyle expert, which I'm gearing towards at the moment. And it's basically everything from cooking to fashion to design and sort of be an influencer. And I think that's important for me in the next few years because I can virtually do that anywhere.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to travel more. And I've traveled throughout my years, but I really want to be able to go out and not worry about checking in every 2 seconds.
Right. Be on vacation.
Really be on vacation.
I don't remember the last time I was on vacation.
Yeah.
Because the phone and the internet has ruined it.
Oh, absolutely.
Everybody knows that you're actually there. I've had, I try and do it, and I say to my office staff, I'm on vacation, tell them blah, blah, blah. And customers will come right back with, well, but she sees it on her cell phone, right? I mean, you could get her to answer it.
Yes, yes.
It's like,
and
okay, lady.
I know that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And my husband and I, my husband has restaurants and stuff, so it's hard for him to get away. Our weekends are never really our weekends. Our weekends are during the week, but I work during the week, so it makes it really difficult for us to even have, sort of this weekend relationship like most couples have. So what we try to do is we're really, we're really mindful that we need to spend time and go away, and we'll take like 2-day trips to St. Lucia, St. Martin, all local, 2.5, 3 hours away. But the whole time, my husband's like, you've checked your iPad and your phone and you're worried about Wi-Fi every 2 seconds. And I'm like, I know. It's like, I know my staff is, lucky for me, I've had a staff that's been with me for a very long time. And my mother, I actually flew her back up here from Florida, and she actually runs my office now. She's my office manager.
Isn't that nice?
And I just last year had given the opportunity for Tim, one of my senior designers, to be vice president of my company, and I thought him having a vested interest would also, have him more involved and let me sort of not relax, but take the back seat for a little bit as far as starting to potentially have a family and stuff. So I thought that was important for me it's just because of his loyalty and because of his stellar work, to have that opportunity for somebody to be VP of the company, especially a growing business like Vanessa DeLeon Associates.
Yeah, well, it's also just another example of the business side of your person and your brain, because you're looking ahead to the lifestyle that you envision for yourself, and you're taking the business steps in order for that to be possible by putting extremely trusted people in positions of authority at your business. That's, again, that's the lesson. It's you have the vision board, have the dreams, have the goals, but back it up with business decisions. Don't just wish I could be home. Figure out a way that you can take 2 days off and know that the place is well run. So hats off to you. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll be surrounded by beautiful babies and doing exactly what you want to do.
Thank you.
I'm certain of it. So before I let you go, because I do know that you are a busy woman trying to run a business there, talk to us a little bit. You're in multiple design associations, ASID, IIDA, IFDA, and you're also in the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So you're, I believe in these organizations as well. I believe in them for mentoring, for teaching, for contacts. Tell us a little bit about your experience. And I understand this year, New York Metro, you actually have a board position. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so I've been inducted to the ASID New York chapter of Director at Large position, which is a wonderful position considering that I'm an editor for Hudson Mon Magazine, and some few contributing editing positions that I've had in the past. So this just was a perfect fit because I am very much heavily involved in the ASID. And I think being involved in the organizations for me is super valuable. There's so many things that you get out of it, whether it's mentorship for, other designers who are, have been really well seasoned, that you have interaction with them, you attend the same functions, you have industry partners that want to work with you, and specifically with just designers that set you apart from a retail store. I think it's also important to know what's out there as far as even technology is concerned. The Architectural Digest show just passed, and I was honored that the Architectural Digest had selected me to be a moderator for a panel, and it was about rebooting your home and about technology. And the forefront of that all is pretty remarkable, and where we're going to be at the next few years and sort of evolving with the evolution of technology is also huge, because it's a huge shift in the industry, and we're focusing more, of course, design, function, and form, but also technology is such a huge portion of what's to come.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible what we're going to start, what we're going to see. And you get all the learning, you understand this when you attend all these organizations and involved in these organizations, and being affiliated with colleges and being a mentor and being a part of the mentorship program for younger individuals who think that this is so far away and how is it even attainable, and showing them that I actually did it at 20 years old. So it is attainable. All these things are at your arm's length. Because I remember when I was younger, I almost see the interior design business being like a fine bottle of wine. You only get better with age. And I've always felt that. So for me, it was really hard to really pave the way, because I was always challenged with, oh, you're too young. How could you run a multi-million-dollar job? And I'm like, I could do it. I swear I could do it. But, and it was always trying to prove myself. And now with my portfolio, I don't have to really prove myself. Clients give me carte blanche, and I just do. And knowing that a younger person or someone out of college sees that, and FIT, for example, they're coming here tomorrow for a class trip to my
Oh,
office.
how exciting. I'll bet they're going gaga for that,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, so I'm excited
I would like to
about
come to
that.
your office for a class trip.
Come here. They're coming tomorrow at 5:30. You can join them.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I think doing things like that and giving back, you only grow if you give back. And I think that's really important to also understand. Like in this business, a lot of people can end up being either full of themselves or take it to another level that, perhaps they think they're too good for certain things. And I think going back to your roots and staying humble and staying grounded in this industry and really paying it forward and helping your competitors too. I mean, I can't tell you how many times that I reach out to various people that I've worked with or work with or have similar interests or have we're sort of competition, helping each other and not always thinking about yourself, because I think you get rewarded with the things that you give out versus the things that you're trying to reach for.
Yeah.
So I always keep that in mind, and being grounded is also really huge for me. So going back to, what you were saying, to your point, I think the organizations are great in giving back and being involved in all these affiliations are also really good for your brand overall, like the notoriety of it and having opportunities that come up. Like because I was IFDA, I was honored in 2007 as Rising Star of New York for New York Spaces, and Jamie Drake honored me in 2007. So that was huge for me.
Sure.
And I was only 27 years old.
Yeah, that's like the Godfather, touching your hand, your shoulder, right?
Right. It really was.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have to tell you that I got the feeling in first. Okay, I want to share an observation with you.
Yes.
That when you just see you and your platform on social media and you don't really go further into it. And I'm not a reality TV watcher. I'm 2 generations away from it. Okay. So, I wasn't like I had a preconceived notion of who you were and what you were. Okay. But when you just see the platform and you see everything, it's like you could just dismiss it is where I'm trying to say. You could dismiss it and say, oh, you know what, this and that, pretty girls, got a lot of stuff going on, whatever. But right. What I have to say is that when I really started to research you and look at your different videos and different presentations that you've done and everything, you are exactly as you are saying. You are a giving person, you're a smart person, you're a humble person. I do truly believe that you do remember where you came from and you do work hard to help people around you and give back, because sometimes people say these things and, maybe they're good actresses and you believe it, but most of the time you can sort of hear the hollowness in the voice, but it's real for you. And I do think that on top of being really smart innately and then smart enough to actually set goals for yourself and then systematically go after them. But I also think that all of that is a big part of it too. And so I congratulate you, and I'm very happy to have met you. I really am.
Oh, thank you. Same here.
A lot of depth there, Vanessa, and I'm very impressed by you. Thank you for taking the time today.
Are you kidding me? Thank you for reaching out, and your email was very sweet, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your show.
It's funny. To write the intro and the summary for a show, I always start by taking down a bunch of notes right after the interview. Then the next day, I'll listen to the episode and I'll take some more notes. And then I let it mull in my head another day or so. And then eventually I sit down and I write the intro and the outro for the episode. And with Vanessa, it was really sort of strange. I just kept hearing my Nana in my head. You see, my Nana would always say, "I love that kid." And, she'd say it just like that. I love that kid. And the thing was, every time Vanessa would come through my mind through this process, and I would think about that I've got to sit down and do this, I kept hearing that phrase, I love that kid. And I know it's a little corny, and I know it's kind of crazy, but she legit knocked my socks off. Now, maybe it's because I have the benefit of having been in business for 30 plus years, and I actually know what it takes to create and manage a successful business. But what we have done here at WindowWorks, as proud as I am of it, no, It cannot be compared to what Vanessa has created. In 16 short years, she has become a recognized brand as an interior designer, and she is on her way to becoming a nationally recognized lifestyle influencer. Make no mistake about that. She will be this for sure. And the thing that excites me the most about Vanessa is that she consciously, systematically created it. Why does that matter? Well, it matters because it means you can do it too, if you want to. This wasn't luck. This wasn't being plucked out of a chorus line and chosen. At 20 years old, Vanessa decided to be this person, to be this business. Now, yes, granted, she worked day and night to create it, but create it she did with her own two hands, her brains, her grit, and in her words, triple D, drive, dedication, discipline. So you see, her career isn't the stuff of TV fairy tales, wishes, dreams. It is the result of establishing a resolute goal for herself, equipping herself with the education and business systems necessary for success, and dedicating herself single-mindedly to its creation. And here's the one thing I have to say about that. If that's not a well-designed business, well, then I'm not sure I know what one is. So if you want your free PDF of the things I learned from Vanessa DeLeon, please go to www.windowworks-nj.com/Vanessa. My great thanks to the sponsor of our podcast, Cravat Inc., featuring CuratedCravat.com. CuratedCravat.com is your go-to resource for the finest in lighting, bedding, pillows, rugs, and so much more. You simply must visit CuratedCravat.com to see what I'm talking about. From the fabulous inspiration rooms curated by leading interior designers to the simplicity of the ordering process. Remember, design, click, deliver. I know you will be as big a fan as I am. See for yourself at CuratedCravat.com. Thank you for joining me again today for another episode of A Well-Designed Business. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks in Livingston, New Jersey, your trade resource for custom window treatments and awnings. Learn more about WindowWorks at www.windowworks-nj.com. All of our music is original music by Room 2 Productions. Please contact us if you want to learn more about original music for your business or your events.